So that's a perfect segue to the next topic.
Tim Way!
I want to talk about E3. I want to talk about the future of E3. And so what you just were referencing there, we haven't formally talked about this on the Gamescast yet. E3 is now going to be open to the public. There was 15,000.
Is it every day? Or is there a public day?
I think it's every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah, because I know that they were selling the two different tickets. One was the whole thing, and one was just one day passes. Right, for 15,000 tickets of just public, anybody can go.
Was it 15,000? Damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, 15,000.
Damn. Okay.
To be at E3. In addition to that, there's been a couple changes announced with conferences. Just today, as the time of recording this, Microsoft announced that they will be doing their press conference on Sunday.
See you later.
June 11th.
Now it's a Tim show. Tim and Tim talk about games.
Schaefer and Gettys, the shitty chocolate company.
Schaefer and Gettys.
Yeah.
Maybe a furniture company?
Sunday, June 11th at 2 p.m. Pacific time will be Microsoft's press conference. Traditionally, it has always been
bend over
on.
when you walk in front of the camera, like the Alamo Draft House. Just bet not that. He's like, how am I going to get my butt on camera today? How am I going to...
He always finds a way.
He looks so tall over there.
He's good. He's a tall man. Greg Miller, very tall.
Yeah.
Like, scary tall.
Keeps the internet from talking shit when they see you in real life.
Fun size.
Everybody's tough online. They see you towering over them at a PAX like, oh, big fan.
Is that why you're so angry about Greg Rice? Because he's the one...
Yeah.
He's
You're
the one
goddamn
guy
right.
taller than you.
Him, Scoville, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, he's a tall motherfucker.
Corn-fed.
Sunday, June 11th, 2 p.m.
Xbox.
Microsoft is doing the Xbox.
I don't like
conference.
this.
Yeah. Then this is weird because normally, traditionally, and for like every year that I can remember at least, Microsoft and Sony would both go on Monday.
Right.
Right. The last couple of years, E3's been a fucking shit show. Everybody just like Bethesda is all of a sudden like, we're doing a fucking conference. It's like, all right, Nintendo's like, fuck this, we're just doing directs. And like, it's like, you guys are crazy. EA is like,
We do that too.
we're just doing our own
We
thing.
get involved in like an indie group that shows their games before, because like everyone is so busy. These things get so big. You're like, oh, my appointment calendar is full the entire week. Can we just meet the weekend before? Can I show you my game the weekend before you go crazy? And so these things, it spreads apart. It's a weird dynamic changing thing all the time.
Yeah, that's what we did last year. That's when we played all the games.
Yeah.
Double Fine.
But that's fine. I'm fine with that. I just like the tradition of E3. I like that I knew what I was getting into every year. Moving it to Sunday, not a fan of this. All right, Bethesda did it, and I was like, I understand that, and I respect that.
But when do you want it to start?
I was fine with Monday mornings forever, but now we're starting on Sunday nights. Bethesda's got to get a word in edgewise. I understand.
Because again, it's The Walking Dead.
Exactly. Bethesda respected tradition. They understood how Mondays worked, and they understand that Tuesday was always Nintendo in the morning, and then the show floor opens, and we all go out and see stuff.
So looking at the schedule now, obviously it's a little early for everybody to put out what exactly they're doing.
Right. Well, that's why I was blown away to open my inbox today and see this thing from Microsoft.
But the other thing to keep in mind is
a
when you're
photo of
going
a
to
teraflop.
when you're going to make a change like that, you got to put it out there so that other people don't schedule things against it. Because the last thing you want to do is create a scenario where people you want to be there or to be watching it now need to divert their attention. Right? That's a bad look. EA is going to be Saturday, June 10th. There's not a time yet, but that's EA Play or whatever they do there.
Their new public thing. Because, of course, EA and Activision bailed last year on E3.
And so that's the thing is like when it comes to this year, now that it's it is a public event for the first time ever. Not that it was ever too difficult to get in if you really wanted to. Now you can literally buy a ticket, which changes the dynamics of what E3 is. Do you guys think that this is a good thing, bad thing, pros and cons?
It's pros and cons.
Let's start with the public thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure pros and cons. I think the knee-jerk reaction from our types, the talking heads,
Handsome
journos, handsome men, and the handsome ladies of the games enthusiast press, whatever you want to call it, right? A lot of them were like, oh no, and it's because like, and I understand this is a message that always gets mishmashed and lost, I think, when we try to translate it. But like E3 is work to us. E3 is, I have appointments to get to every time. So the idea of 15,000 more people in there who might be milling about a bit more is off-putting to some people,
When you're
right?
running between appointments, get out
Doing
of my
this
way.
thing, which does happen every time. I'm late to every appointment at E3, and it's not because I scheduled them poorly. It's because I give myself a 5-minute window, and then I'm getting stopped by someone I know, someone I don't know, somebody wants a photo. It's just jam-packed people everywhere, and it's a pain in the ass to move around. So to add more people into that, I understand that. I think it's a cool idea. I like and love the idea of E3. I remember being on the outside reading EGM, reading about E3, and man, I can't wait to go there. And I understand that not everyone's dream is to work at IGN, EGM like me or whatever, and so they're never going to go. Here's a chance to go. my fear about this E3 being open to the public is that I really feel a lot of fans could easily be burned coming away from it. I have a feeling that people are going expecting the E3 experiences they've seen on all access shows, they've seen on press conferences, that they've read about, the experiences we talk about.
What do you think they won't be able to do? They think they're going to be
Press
everything cool.
conferences. Yeah,
Like,
everything
play
cool.
a game,
Play
like
games,
actually
go
get
to
access to a
conferences, talk to people.
It's the fact that I think so many people were confused. Oh, will this get me to the press conference? No, it will not. You can line up for Microsoft or Sony, and they'll have their ways and their hoops to jump through to try to get you in there, because they do let people in, but that's a different ticket to get. But then it's the thing of when you hear Colin and I come out talking about what we saw for Detroit Become Human, that was in a press area behind closed doors that is not on the show floor. You are not going to walk up to PlayStation's booth, get in line, and see that. Probably. I mean, I'm talking about like years past, right, of how this has been. There are closed rooms with some demos in them, but they're not the ones we're seeing where there's a theater that Matt Scarpino built in the upper area. You know what I mean? You're going to go there and there's going to be kiosk on top of kiosk, but they're going to be third-party partner games that probably weren't even in the press conference that are coming out in a couple weeks, stuff like that. I don't know when soon for Full Throttle is, but Full Throttle would be, it might even still be there just because it's a new release for them. That's how they do it. And so that's fine if your preconception is set to that. It's a No Man's Sky situation. If your standards are set for what this is realistically going to be, you're going to have a great time. Yeah. And it's going to be a PAX of, I waited 2 hours in line and we went and saw a 15-minute demo of this thing that was what they showed at the press conference, but I got to see it on a 4K TV and it's cool to see it with my own eyes, If you go in there and you think that it's going to be, oh my God, this is going to happen, blah, 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 you're not going to get that experience. Yeah. And then my other concern is, I don't know if ESA has thought that through when they've planned this E3 of what are they really giving the consumer. The other concern is what are publishers and booth people who are setting up this, or third party, anybody who's having a booth at E3, have they thought about this? Are they all going to go the way of what Warner Brothers does, which is there is just a walled booth and then there's some TVs on the outside, but all the stuff is on the inside and you need an appointment and you need to do that. So then what is the fan getting out of that? On top of that, how is ESA or video game publisher X, developer X, going to deal with the fact of a Tim, of a Kojima, of a whoever walking through that thing? I talk about at PSX where they had to give me security, right? Like what happened?
I wear a Greg Miller mask.
Then you'll get
and
stopped.
No one talks to me. No,
but I mean, like, think about Kojima running from the GameSpot booth to the IGN booth, which are next to each other, but still that's entering into now a very public hall and going over two booths or one booth over. It's like, there's these logistic things that suddenly become, I don't think it's going to be, oh my God, what a disaster. E3 is like on fire. Nothing bad's going to happen, but it's going to be, I think they're going to come away from this E3 and be like, wow, there's a lot of things we didn't think through. Next year we'll have them fixed and we'll make it better.
Exactly. I'm a bit on the other side of this. Like, I'm not so much on the doom and gloom and all the cons of it, because I do think at the end of the day, this is just making it a PAX. And it's like, if you enjoy going to PAX, you're going to enjoy going to this, I think, even more. Just in the sense that, like, if you're going there to play games and if you're going to see games, you're not going to play 100 games. You're going to play maybe 3 games a day. I feel like that's an actual thing if you waited in line and got to do that. But what I do think is awesome is I always thought it was a waste of money and space and time for places like IGN when we were there, or GameSpot, to be on the show floor doing these live shows that are fucking awesome with guys like you, with Kojima, with all these people. And there's like IGN has their super awesome aquarium looking thing where it's like the glass, like the plexiglass you can see through. It's like, what's the point of doing that if there's no one there watching? Yeah. We've been doing the GameSpot show the last couple of years, and there's like all this space for an audience to sit, but it's like,
when it's professionals who's coming through,
a bunch of professionals who are just taking a break to
other
sit
than
there.
Mario Not Bros, who was just there
randomly. I don't know how he got there.
Right.
But I personally, and obviously I'm very biased because I'm on this side of it, but like I love it.
No.
Hell yeah, give me another excuse to have a group of people where we can engage with them and they can be there as kind of funny fans.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we've talked about, like what do we want to do with it and stuff. Like I'm totally down for the thing of being like, all right, cool, this is public and here's my schedule. Like you can't come into my demos, but you're welcome to walk with me and party with me and walk. And when we get there, if we have 50 people, I'll be like, can they all come in? And they'll be like, no. And I'm like, well, it's E3. I don't know. My one thing though, I take contention with, because I've seen a lot of people say this, is it's going to be like PAX. I think that's going to hurt a lot of people's feelings and expectations wrong. PAX is awesome. PAX is all about the community and all about the consumer and all about the person that goes there. PAX is you go to the Double Fine booth and you're playing the game and Tim will walk up to you. And
free hugs.
Exactly. And talk. And like, I can't tell you the number of our fans who meet us in meet and greets. They're like, yeah, and I was playing this and Tim Schafer just walked up and started talking. And like, they're blown away by that access.
Yeah.
And E3 is literally going to be, you might even get on a station and you're going to have somebody come over and grab you and be like, sorry, Newsweek's here. They need to use this.
You're right about that.
And I guess that happens at PAX.
But I think that it's kind of if you're going with the right headspace, I think that E3 is way cooler than PAX in the sense of how epic the scale is. And the booths are way more, like at PAX, the booths are open and the booths are very just kind of like, here's the logo.
Sure.
But E3 is like, there's just a sense of scale to it
Sure.
that
I agree with that.
you
But have
only
you-
see in magazine scans.
You've been to
whatever.
Gamescom in Germany?
I have not been to Gamescom.
Because that's like, I mean, it's kind of, I'm used to all the shows being a little compartmentalized where you're in a different mode in each show. And like,
Sure.
I'm going to go to PAX, I'm going to talk to players, and I'm going to see some cosplay, and there's going to be hugs all over. It's going to be great. I'm going to go to GDC, the Game Developers Conference, because we're going to hug other developers and cry about how hard it is making games. And then I go to like E3, because I'm going to have meetings with people from marketing and press to talk about selling, almost like a business show for us. And I could kind of accept those different modes, and when they mix them together, like Gamescom is it's a huge, I don't know I haven't been there in a few years, but it's enormous. It's really big, and it has, because the public gets to come, and it's all the businesses being transpired, and it's just the scale of it. What you're describing it makes it exciting, but also makes you feel a little bit like I'm going to get trampled. I need to escape.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get out of here. And so it's a little easier for me to imagine it compartmentalized. Although in theory, just the idea that we're letting the public in, it does sound nice. Like, oh, we'll let them in. I do, like you said, I hope they. I hope it works out. I hope it's a good experiment. But if we will go back to them being compartmentalized, I should learn how to pronounce that. But if we go back to that, I definitely am more comfortable with that because everyone knows it'd be great to have more PAXs.
Well,
I don't know if we need more PAXs.
the thing
not that I have to go to, but so everyone has one near them that they can get.
What
to.
could be interesting is the fact of, I think this is E3 searching for its identity in a changing world. And last year with EA and Activision pulling out and being like, well, we don't need you. And with PSX and with Nintendo Directs, like, the jig's up, right? That E3 is awesome, and we love E3.
Yeah.
I don't know. You love E3? You still love E3?
I mean,
did you ever love E3?
Yeah, it's just when I found out. When I found out about E3, it was already a work thing.
Sure.
It was already I start getting exhausted as soon as I hear.
Right.
But I mean, I like it. I mean, it's a well-run show. I mean, I'm not complaining about it. I just think about, man, that's going to be like 12 hours in like a veal slaughtering pen, giving the same demo over and over again, and it's great.
E3 is exciting, and it's like Christmas, it's a Super Bowl, it's all true because it is, hey, here's all the information you need about all the awesome games, but we don't need it anymore. And I think what you were talking about earlier of like, let's get out in front of it, let's do this, and you see now EA, Activision, Bethesda, all these people doing the same thing, that's when it starts to go, and I wonder how long it's going to take. We had Pete Hines in recently, and he's talking about Bethesda's attitude and how direct they are and how they're talking, what they're handling, and I thought it was really refreshing. How long it takes everyone to wrap their head around that and realize that you could go to PAX and do that there. You could go to PAX and have, hey, we are Activision. Here's the Activision panel in the main PAX hall, and we're going to show you all these new trailers, all these new exclusives. The place would go fucking wild, and you would own that weekend.
Yeah,
you could own
I
those
think
things.
it's a step further than that. It's not even PAX. Just do your own thing. Like entirely do your own thing and make all the news about what you're doing. This is what I'm most concerned about. And I think that the opening E3 to the public is really good for this reason. I don't want E3 to die. E3 is dying, and being there last year, it's like without Activision EA there.
People counted out D3 before. Like, it's been dead before. Oh, it's dead.
But even when it was
I
dead,
saw the Gamecock funeral parade in Santa Monica, sir.
But the thing that I think is important to keep in mind is that E3 being dead, E3 the show, E3, what E3 means to all of us is different than what E3 actually is. E3 is just, it's a convention that's 3 days or whatever, but we count the press conferences in that. We count the entire week of an experience that people have. And I think that it's important to recognize that the press conferences have nothing directly to do with E3 itself. It's just traditionally, since this big thing is happening, that's just when they make all the announcements because that makes sense, right? But it's like the moment, what if Xbox was just like, we're doing this thing, and they put the date out and it was like April 10th.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like even if it's like a cycle, even if it splatters and like it spreads out to all these different little mini press conferences they show, like a couple of them be like, hey, you want to team up on our press conference? Because we get more people to come. And then they go, hey, we should have the whole show. We should call it E3. And like it'll come back to life again because you get this critical mass where people could justify on their expense account flying all the way out from Europe or something because it's that big of a show. So it just seems to grow. It seems to be like this life form that kind
Sure.
of like scatters and then regrows every time.
The reason I brought up PAX and Activision going there and do something is the point I lost there in the weeds. Was the point I was trying to make is the fact that as E3 becomes more like a PAX, it is going to be compared more and more to PAX. And that's what I'm saying is I think pound for pound this year in terms of a community focused show, PAX is going to be better than E3. Like it's going to be more important, more interesting, more fan servicey. And so when what we're saying where it's like a couple different people getting together, like, well, yeah, why wouldn't you if you're, CD Projekt Red and you want to do, Cyberpunk, yeah, that'd be a great E3 announcement, but what conference are you showing up at and how are you doing this? And it's like that opportunity would still be there and you could go to PAX and you could just own it. You could be at PAX East and you could be the biggest fucking thing that happened at PAX East and everyone's talking for that weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You bring up a good point about everyone all around the world flying out for E3. I think E3 is unique in that it is the marketing teams, the sales teams,
Like I
and all
can
that stuff.
see everything.
There's
I
so
can
much
meet with
business.
everybody. They're all going to be there.
Yeah, and it's like that is the one thing that makes me think like Xbox couldn't just back out and just be like, we're just doing our own event, nothing to do with E3, because they still need to be part of that conversation because they still need to have the meetings with all these other. I swear to God, this building has the most trains and ambulances and police go by.
You guys,
than any
this is
other
a
building in
bad
the
neighborhood.
entire damn world.
Lots.
It's freaking ridiculous. But I'm interested. Like this year, there's a bunch of questions I want to know. Bethesda, are they going to have another conference?
I do. I think
Nintendo, are they going to do a direct? Are they going to do a conference?
I think they have a direct.
And
I think we all were like, go, yeah, you got the Switch you got the Switch, do a conference. Oh God, why did you do a conference?
But that's the thing is that this is different though because this is in America.
I know.
If they did a conference at E3, and again, I'm a direct fan. I think they should do a direct. I don't think there's any reason for them to do a on stage type presentation at all. But if they did, it'd be Reggie. It would be a totally different vibe.
Look.
It wouldn't be the awkward ass translations. So I think there's a chance that they'll do that. And either way, when does that happen? Traditionally, they've been doing it on Tuesday mornings, which is very in the way of everything. I don't know why they do that. And then Sony, do they change their time now that Microsoft is? You think Sony's still Monday nights?
Yep.
Not Monday earlier because they have the time slot?
No. I mean, think about it. It's always it just works to their advantage. These last few E3s have worked to their advantage because they just had to come out and be like, this is what it is. And Monday morning, you're all gonna wake up and talk about this, and you're gonna talk about it until you go there, and you're gonna compare us to everything else, and we get to be the end cap of everything. And it's still the same thing because I was thinking the whole thing of like when it got announced.
Isn't it Monday? Don't they go on Mondays though? It's Monday night, right?
Yeah. What did I just say?
You said they go in. People go in Monday. And that's all they're talking about.
Tuesday.
All right. Okay.
Tuesday, you wake up and talk about it. Yeah.
Well, there's Nintendo's thing happening. They're probably
Yeah, but again,
talking
no one talks about that. Oh wow, they got more fucking Fire Emblem characters. Well, great, Jesus Christ. Which
fucking
one's
awesome.
that? Oh, well, don't worry, they'll do a conference next year. It'll be great. They'll show the Switch. I think that nothing changes for Sony. They still have everybody before them. I think it's interesting. I think Microsoft moving out gives them, theoretically, depending on what Bethesda does, a day to be the biggest thing going, right? And I think that's the same thing. Phil Spencer driving by, super stoked. But I think Xbox gets to end that day, especially with Scorpio talk, of like, hey, we get to own pretty much a 24-hour news cycle in video games about Scorpio, and that's all you get to talk about. Rather than it be that we announce Scorpio in the afternoon, and then whatever PlayStation does maybe doesn't knock us off our pedestal, but is still we're competing for market share there.
Yeah.
Because Bethesda's going to come out and, hey, we have all these great games. Let's talk about these
No,
games.
that's kind of it. Do you think Bethesda sticks to Sunday?
I do, yeah. I think they own that spot now. I think that, like, I counted them out. I think we all did after year one, where I thought year one they did it, and I was like, oh, wow, that was a really bold move. But like they led up here, and they had all the cards, and everything's played. It was perfectly in place. They can't do it again next year, which sucks, but that was a good year for them. And then next year they did it. And I was like, fuck. And now next year you figure it's going to be, they're going to come out and talk about that machine games. Thank you very much. Machine game for the next Wolfenstein. They'll have that to talk about. Like, they're going to have more and more to talk about.
But I mean, so now they'd be going on the same day as Microsoft, and typically I think that they went at 5.
I thought it was 7, but yeah.
Whatever. I mean,
It's an
that'd be
evening conference.
It'd be an evening conference after Microsoft's.
Yeah.
You don't think they go Saturday?
No.
Compete
I don't
with
think
EA instead?
I don't know. I don't think that's so much Bethesda's concern. I think the fact they went where they went on Sunday before was the fact that we want to do a press conference. We have all this awesome shit to talk about, and we can't fit it into the normal schedule. Now, granted, I guess maybe they could try to take Microsoft's spot on Monday, but I don't see the real need there either.
Yeah.
Because again, it's apples and oranges. Because you figure it's going to go Microsoft, new console, State of Decay 2, Crackdown release date, whatever they're going to do. We have all this cool shit and what's coming up for the next year. That's awesome, but we're all going to talk about Scorpio. Bethesda, here's these awesome games. The next day, we'll wake up and it'll be, all right, here's your traditional Ubisoft EA. Aisha Tyler's making jokes. A lot of good. Man, there was some slow porries. Why are they talking about all these sports games? Blah, blah, blah. Why am I excited for Sony? It's Sony, and then Nintendo, and then we're off to the races to go see stuff.
I think it's great that you guys think about this to such detail so that no one else has to think about it. You think about all schedule stuff and then we just watch your show.
If anybody ever listened, you know what I mean? We could run all these companies. They'd be making millions of dollars if they listened to us, Tim.
I would love it if they would just
Put
choose
two
one day.
blue
I want all one day.
No. Well, I mean,
There's
that's
too much. There's like so much gaps. I'd rather just
on
have
the same stage, so you could just sit in one place, order
Yes.
food,
So
and
on
then
that.
one by one they would come through and do their little show, and then you had the rest of the time to stand in line for a demo.
we
Yeah.
we had a cool idea that I don't know if we've disqualified, so I won't bring it up.
Yeah, don't bring it
I
up.
won't even bring it up with Jeff.
It's
But
so
it was
cool.
great until we were like, oh well, hell, fuck. That's E3 days are long.
Yeah. But anyway, that's E3. Any closing words, Tim?
We're closing E3.
Yeah.
Oh, E3. I lose my voice on the first day. I spend the rest of the day like drinking tea, trying to get it back.
Yeah. Does it ever work?
No. You have to just sit there and not talk for 3
Are
days.
you excited the Fig's back? Are you one of the Fig people? Do you go to Fig a lot?
I thought you were talking about Fig, the crowdfunding platform that. Yeah.
That got Psychonauts going?
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Fig.
So it's it's gonna be up and
This
ready
year's-
for
this year, every
Is it going
super
to be
stuff.
changed?
Yeah, it's going to be nicer.
Really?
Yeah,
They
apparently. I don't
got
know.
rid of the whole Moroccan thing.
I don't know about that. I don't know.
I liked it before, except for the rooms didn't have AC. I think.
Something
if I remember.
stupid. Yeah,
I've never actually stayed, but I've seen some of the rooms in there.
The JW is where it's at. That's where you want to stay. Straight up.
We got Airbnb. Got a hot
That's what we did
tub,
last year. Yeah.
Just like a bunch of people.
Terrible internet. Bad for an internet company.
Ours was awesome.
Problem.
Okay, I'll come stay with you.
Yeah,
this
come
time.
stay with us.
So, ladies and gentlemen, this is where things get a little bit weird. So, if you're a Patreon supporter over at patreon.com/, you know what I'm talking about. If you are.
Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. He doesn't say it enough. Please go support us
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
Is this the 2-class system?
Yeah. So what's happening here is
Like Starship Troopers?
Greg played an embargoed game that we can't publicly talk about yet because the thing's too early. But we wanted to make sure that we hit the embargo with it, which is next Thursday, if you're listening to this, which is when, the fourth topic usually goes up. So if you want to watch that next Thursday, go to youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. You'll see that whole thing. We wanted to make sure we got this episode at least up as soon as possible. So that's how that whole rigmarole
Because I
works.
perish.
Yes.
I'm perishable. I'm not going to look this fresh later in the day.